This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Tuesday, the 29th day of June in the year 2021. I'm Gordon Mosley. Here's what we're tracking tonight. 9 months after the brutal killing of Berbice teenager Harish Singh in the number 3 village Baghdad, 4 men were today charged and remanded to jail for his murder. The 4 men, 29-year-old Philip Anderson, 27-year-old Joel Gittins, 27-year-old Gladstone Henry, and 21-year-old Charles Scott, appeared before Magistrate Peter Hugh at the 4th Wellington Magistrates Court in Berbice, where they were not required to enter a plea to the indictable murder charge. They are accused of murdering Harish Singh on the 9th of September last year. A post-mortem examination that was conducted on Singh's body found that he died from a brain hemorrhage caused by blunt trauma to the head. It was suspected that he was badly beaten to death. Singh was riding his motorcycle to his farm in the West Berbice Backlands when he met his demise. His murder came in the height of protest in the same Berbice area over the murder of 2 other teens, Joel and Isaiah Henry. 3 men are currently before the courts facing murder charges related to their deaths. One of the 4 men charged today for Singh's murder, Gladstone Henry, is the older brother of Isaiah Henry. He's being represented by attorney Nigel Hughes. Mr. Hughes told News Source this afternoon that there are statements from 10 persons who have all confirmed that his client, Gladstone Henry, was with his mother watching his brother's post-mortem via WhatsApp video on the day that Harish Singh was murdered. Hughes said the statements were provided to the police, but the police never bothered to interview any of the witnesses before filing the murder charge. The attorney said the institution of the murder charge against Gladstone Henry is a miscarriage of justice.
We indicated to the magistrate that we believe that there is a serious risk of miscarriage of justice because several persons, not 1 person, not 2, 10 people have confirmed the whereabouts of Mr. Henry at the time Mr. Singh was murdered, and they were all looking live at the post-mortem of Joel and Isaiah Henry, where Mr. Henry Sr. was actually video recording it. None of those witnesses, as far as I'm aware, not one of the 10 witnesses has been contacted by the police to even investigate what they have said in relation to the whereabouts of Mr. Henry on the 9th, which is the morning of the 9th when Mr. Harish Singh was murdered. We, the legal advisors, believe that there has been and there is a risk of a serious miscarriage of justice when charges are instituted without any investigation conducted in relation to the alibi, particularly when there are as many as 10 persons who corroborate the presence of an accused person at a completely different location and could provide details as to what was going on, where he was, what specific event all of the persons who were at that location were doing. And so the saga of the Henry boys continues to get worse, and we're now at the stage of a real miscarriage of justice as a result of the inadequacy of the investigation, which is what we had complained about from the beginning of this very sad episode.
Another relative of the murdered Henry Cousins was recently charged for the murder of one of the early suspects in the Henry boys' killing. The 4 men who were charged today for the murder of Harish Singh were arrested last week by officers attached to the police force's major crimes unit. 3 of them were picked up by investigators, while the 4th, Gladstone Henry, turned himself over to the investigators after a wanted bulletin was issued for his arrest. More news coming up in just a moment.
What's our purpose? Together we rise. For our community, our customer, and our country. Our promises: strengthen our community, reliably connect our customers, innovate for all in our country. Together we rise.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Preparing for your NGSA exams is always a challenge. The Guyana Learning Channel is here to help. You can go to YouTube using your browser or your mobile device. Then search for the Guyana Learning Channel in the search bar. We're live streaming our NGSA booster videos all day and all night. If you want to study a specific subject or topic, you can go to our NGSA booster playlist. You can look at a specific subject, such as mathematics, and then look for a specific topic. Here, you can follow along with the lesson to prepare for your examination. Remember kids, study hard, and best of luck in your exams.
Sonia, you think people easy? People just really want to do their own thing. Look across the road how we building the house low. The building code say you're supposed to be 2 feet off the ground.
And when the place flood, them just be the first to complain.
But you know sometimes we that just contribute to the flooding with we behavior.
You know, boy, we just throw things in the drains and canals. We don't keep the gutters clean and dispose of garbage properly. By the way, you got an emergency kit?
Yeah, Sonia, I got me own and it got drinking water, army medicines, and say things like band-aids, iodine, bandages.
And me own got in toothpaste, a change of underwear and clothing, toilet paper and soap.
Guyana, our country, our responsibility.
Mobil 1 is more than oil. It's many oils. It transforms at the molecular level. When cold, it's thicker than honey. When hot, it's thinner than water. Mobil 1 adapts and readapts to last longer. 16,000 kilometers between oil changes. That's your engine evolved.
Sol Guyana is the authorized distributor of Mobil lubricants.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right. Walk in upright ways. Knowing that's what being a man is all about. And ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong. Be the one to live right.
Let GBTI make your dreams of owning a home a reality. Buy or build your home with us. Let us help you to completely outfit your home and make it move-in ready. Need to purchase land? We finance that too. Benefit from our 10% down payment and interest rates as low as 4.25%. Calculated on the reducing balance with up to 30 years to repay. Switch your mortgage to us and learn about benefiting from the equity in your home. Invest wisely. Apply online or call your branch to schedule an appointment. GBTI, we see Guyana through your eyes.
Welcome back. Chief Elections Officer Keith Lowenfield, his deputy Roxanne Myers, and returning officer for Region 4 Clearmont Mingo appeared in court this morning to face conspiracy to defraud charges related to last year's elections. They were not required to enter a plea to the indictable charges and were granted bail in the sum of $100,000 each. The last time the charges were brought up in court, the three were not present as they were informed late of the charges. The three GCOM officials are accused of conspiring with others, including members of the APNU-AFC coalition and other GCOM employees to defraud the electors of Guyana, contrary to the common law. They are accused of allegedly declaring a false account of the votes cast at last year's elections. Already, Lowenfield is facing charges of misconduct in public office and forgery, while Myers is facing 2 charges of misconduct in public office, and Mingo is facing 4 charges of misconduct in public office. Those charges are still ongoing and have been crawling along in the court system. 3 weeks ago, the 3 GCOM officials were summoned to the police CID headquarters to be questioned about matters related to the results of last year's elections. The charges against them were filed soon after. The Guyana Police Force and the Director of Public Prosecutions recently obtained copies of the statements of poll and statements of recount from the elections. On Monday, the GCOM trio proceeded on their annual leave under the direction of the chairman of the Elections Commission, as the PP Civic Commissioners on the commission moved a motion for them to be dismissed. That motion is still to be determined. Let's tell you now that 53-year-old Brazilian hotel and restaurant owner Beto Coutinho was found dead this afternoon at his Regent Street guest house. The man's body was found hanging in one of the apartments of the hotel. The gruesome discovery was made by relatives and friends this afternoon after they became concerned that he had not been seen all day and his business remained closed. One of the employees said several calls to the man's phone went unanswered.
Well, this morning, as normal for every day, I report to work 6:30 for his worker touching in. And upon coming in this morning, the door wasn't open as usual. And well, upon calling, no answer to the cell phone. We eventually given a voice call, nothing, we get no response until 8:30 time. We leave. Normally that if he take a little alcohol or whatever, he would sleep. He don't report, he don't open for work. So I've said probably he must take a few drinks and he's not working today. So we leave here about 8:30. During the day we try calling, no response. So I decided to call upstairs to the reception and I asked her to speak with the boss upstairs and explain to him that we're not getting on to him, to the boss downstairs, if he can make a check. However, I told him, I said, even if you're not getting no response, see if you can break the door and go in.
The employee also said it was not until late this afternoon that they confirmed the man's death after his body was discovered in the apartment. They suspect that he may have taken his own life. The Brazilian businessman, who has been living in Guyana for several years, is being remembered as a fun-loving person.
Well, my boss, he is friendly as normal. You would think somebody you could talk to, make joke. I mean, everybody got a bad way, they got a good way, but he was somebody good. To my knowing, and for me, he was somebody good.
A police investigation is underway tonight. Some sad news to report now. Guyanese businessman and tourism marketing agent Chris Basu lost his 4-week battle against COVID-19 in Brazil today, leaving family and friends devastated. Basu, who became stranded in Brazil with his wife and newborn baby just after the pandemic forced a shutdown of Brazil last year, passed away in the Brazilian capital this morning. One of his relatives explained on Facebook that he passed away from heart failure as a result of COVID-19, which damaged 50% of his lungs. He was admitted to the ICU in a hospital in Brasilia and never recovered. In the past 4 weeks, he was attached to a ventilator, according to the relative. Basu documented being stranded in Brazil on his Facebook page with no way out as the borders remained closed and Brazil raised to the number 2 spot in the list of countries mostly affected by the pandemic. Along with his wife and young baby, he spent the last 15 months living in a hotel as he managed his business in Guyana virtually. He made his last post on Facebook on the 9th of May as he wished his wife a happy Mother's Day. He also highlighted the impact that the pandemic was having in Brazil. While Basu survived the peak of the pandemic in Brazil when thousands were dying daily, he became infected recently and never recovered. A relative noted that although he was stranded in the neighboring country, he made the best of it by becoming friends with hotel workers and neighbors of the hotel that he called home. With tears flowing down his face, Norton Street Georgetown resident Quincy Chase was this morning remanded to jail for the murder of his younger brother Paul Chase. In court, the 27-year-old man was not required to enter a plea to the indictable charge, which stated that on the 25th of June, at a Cumming Street home of his mother, he stabbed his 24-year-old brother to death during a fight. The accused has been remanded to jail. The two brothers got into a fight at their mother's house after the accused punched the mother to her face and was accosted by the younger brother. It was during the fight between the brothers that the accused armed himself with a knife and repeatedly stabbed the younger brother as the mother gazed on in disbelief. The younger brother was pronounced dead by paramedics who arrived at the scene. Initially, investigators were told that it was the now dead brother who had assaulted the mother, but after further probing of the details that led to the deadly fight, they learned that the younger brother was in fact defending his mother after she was punched by the older sibling. The accused will make his next court appearance in the new month. Well, following the more than usual rainfall that drenched Guyana over the past 2 months, the National Hydromet Service is warning that the umbrellas should not be put away just yet. The Hydromet Service today announced that most of Guyana will experience rainy conditions throughout the month of July, with the dry and sunny weather returning in full in the months of August and September. Chief Hydromet Officer Dr. Garvin Cummings.
That for the month of July, we'll continue to see wetter than usual conditions, with the exception perhaps of regions 1, 2, and 3. The other regions will record wetter than usual conditions. As we move into August, September, we'll find that conditions will return to the normal dryness that is expected for those months. So August, September, October, we expect that conditions will be dry as usual. So the month of major concern right now is really July. Once we get past July, we expect that conditions will return to some degree of normalcy, and that's specific to regions 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Regions 1, 2, and 3 should be just about normal conditions for the month of July. So once we get past July, we expect that conditions will be normal, and therefore the concerns for flooding beyond July will be significantly reduced.
Dr. Cummings said concerns about flooding should ease once the month of July passes. Guyana experienced severe flooding in several communities across the country during the past 6 weeks, as heavy and persistent rainfall flooded the lands and forced rivers and creeks over their banks. The floods have been declared a national disaster. The Ministry of Health is renewing its efforts to encourage more persons to get vaccinated against COVID-19. While more than 232,000 persons have now received a first shot of one of the COVID-19 vaccines, just over 107,000 are fully vaccinated. The health minister today said 80% of the population needs to be fully vaccinated for the country to be in the all clear. He noted that Guyana is a far way from that at the current pace of the vaccination efforts.
Guyana would not be safe until we have a lot of people getting these vaccines. We have to strive to get at least about 80%, 85% of our population being immunized, and we are still a far way from that. We have vaccines. What we have to do is to ensure that people come out and get the vaccines.
In the coming days, the health minister said additional vaccination drives will take place in communities across the country. Once the second dose of the Sputnik vaccine arrives and is administered, the country will see a big jump in the fully vaccinated numbers. There are more than 100,000 persons awaiting their second dose of that Sputnik vaccine. The country is still awaiting confirmation on the arrival date for the second dose. It's been over a month now since the country ran out of those second doses for Sputnik. Across the region is coming up next.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
At Sosh Financial, we create strategies for strengthening business and personal finances while helping our clients to build sustainable wealth. Our financial and business consultancy services are uniquely tailored to ensure every client receives quality packages and optimal results. Our financial services include financial reporting and analysis, financial status assessment, internal audits, bookkeeping and records management, financial planning advice, tax returns. Our business advisory services are related to business plans, business startups, operational improvement, business management, document preparation, procedures development, efficient marketing. Call or WhatsApp us today for your free consultation on telephone number 592-665-6045. Sash Financial, strengthening businesses, building wealth.
What's our purpose? Together we rise. For our community, our customer, and our country. Our promises: strengthen our community, reliably connect our customers, innovate for all in our country. Together we rise.
Fuel it up and drive, Zuma 95. Tune up. Fuel it up and drive, Zuma 95. Tune up. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guy Oil Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive.
Wait, today what day, man? You know what? Maybe it's up to go and get a vaccine sometime soon. Let me check this book. The book there, man. Oh, shucks, me almost forget the second dose. Me got to go take me second dose of the vaccine. Me got to go now. So doctor, the first vaccine we take in a bit hot, right? But me hear say that them say the second one does hot. You go hot?
No, the second vaccine shouldn't hurt either.
Okay, good.
It is very important that all of us take our second dose. Why? Because with the first dose, usually the people who get protection, only 68% of them. If we all take the second dose, that number rises to about 95%. So it is very, very important that once you've taken the first dose, it's good to take the first dose, but then you must go on to take the second dose. Let us protect ourselves and protect the people around us, our loved ones, friends, and family. I'm Dr. William Ndukro, the past PAHO WHO representative and presently the project director for the Mental Health Suicide Study.
Across the region tonight, in Jamaica, the Cannabis Licensing Authority there is reporting an increased demand for Jamaican ganja on the global market. The authority says in recent months it has been issuing export permits to territories as far away as Australia and Germany, which are seeking Jamaican weed for research and medicinal purposes. It says a total of 42 export authorizations have been issued to 10 entities trading with various regions of the globe. Since the start of the year, the authority says it has issued 19 export permits and has seen an increase in export permit requests by licensee. In the absence of export regulations which are in the final stages of promulgation, the authority says it created an interim export-import policy that has allowed licensees since 2018 to export marijuana and its extracts. The authority said the quantity for each export varies and the purpose ranges from research to medicinal and scientific. The government of Brazil has unveiled emergency hydroelectric measures in response to a drought that has emptied reservoirs and fanned inflation expectations. Mines and Energy Minister Bento Albuquerque, in a speech, urged consumers to be conscientious in their power and water use, but did not announce energy rationing. He said the government was working on a voluntary program to incentivize companies to use power outside of peak hours. The news comes after President Jair Bolsonaro signed a temporary executive order that establishes an emergency body known as the Chamber of Exceptional Rules for Hydro Energy Management. It is able to temporarily establish limits which may result in a reduction in the flow of hydroelectric plants. The order also paves the way for the government of Brazil to buy electricity reserves from private companies. And finally tonight, international news. South Africa's former President Jacob Zuma has been sentenced to 15 months in jail by the country's highest court. He has been given 5 days to hand himself into the police. Failing that, the police minister must order his arrest. The sentence comes after the Constitutional Court found him guilty of contempt for defying its order to appear at an inquiry into corruption while he was president. Mr. Zuma's time in power, which ended in 2018, was dogged by graft allegations. Businessmen were accused of conspiring with politicians to influence the decision-making process. The former president testified only once at the inquiry into what has become known as state capture, but then refused to appear subsequently. The inquiry, headed by Justice Raymond Zondo, asked the Constitutional Court to intervene. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.